Y'all ready to get started? All right. How are those hors d'oeuvres? Good. Held you over for a little while? All right, guys, we have some beautiful pan-seared scallops today. We're going to be using some dry scallops. And the difference between dry and wet, dry just comes right out of the shell, and wet is 25% water added to the scallop. So when you cook it, a lot of the moisture comes out and you have a little shriveled up scallop. So these are just fresh out of the shell. Everybody knows what a scallop shell looks like, right? The Shell gas station, that's a scallop shell. These are day boat scallops. I wasn't joking, it's really true. These are day boat scallops, meaning that the guys go on a boat out during the day, you know, just one trip out, little boat, dive down, hand pick them, and then bring them back that day. So that's why it's called day boat scallops. But we just do a real simple, kind of like a salad, little Tobika caviar vinaigrette. Tobika caviar is flying fish roe, and it's actually dyed, and it's got soy sauce, and it's flavored. But for this recipe, it's really, really good. I suggest make the vinaigrette probably a day ahead, because the flavor, the soy sauce, and all the ingredients in that Tobika caviar will come out in the vinaigrette, and it'll actually turn into like a pale green too, so it'll look a little cooler too. So I would make that a day ahead. But the recipe is basically just for the 4 servings. It'll make about 6 ounces, and you need about 1.5 ounces per serving. So. We're going to start with the vinaigrette. I'm going to turn this pan on really low because I want a very hot pan with those scallops. There is one part of the recipe that I'm just going to have to kind of go over because of safety reasons. We really can't fry anything out here. I don't want to burn. I'm not worried about burning my restaurant down. It's like a 12-month vacation, but I don't want to burn you. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to go over it. You know, everybody's from the South, right? We all know how to fry. But I'll show you and tell you the important things about these flash fried onion rings. All right, so we're going to start the recipe. It's really simple, guys. Really simple. We have some garlic, just minced up. A shallot. A shallot's a cross between onion and garlic. So you still have some of that onion sweet flavor, but that pungent garlic punch too. And we have some sugar to kind of counteract some of that aggressiveness. So we're going to cut the shallot. You want to cut it as small as you can. Everybody knows the claw method?
Yes.
So y'all can do it this fast? So one shallot, probably about medium, would be good. And this is really a good base for any kind of vinaigrette. You know, we're using the Tobika caviar for our flavor. We're using white wine vinegar, which is a little bit sweeter than normal distilled vinegar. All right, so we have the shallots. And basically what we're going to do is put all the ingredients in besides the oil. The egg is going to act as the binder. Egg has something in it called lecithin, and it acts as the emulsifier or a binder. So when we make the vinaigrette, we're going to start with the egg, put everything in there, and then finish with the oil, and we're going to whisk it as we slowly put the oil in. So after you make the vinaigrette, the oil and the vinegar won't separate. It'll stay together. And besides that, it's going to fortify that vinaigrette and give it some fat, some more flavor. So fat is good, guys. We got to add it somewhere. All right. So we just want the egg yolk. I know I was saying egg, but we really just want the egg yolk. That's the part that has the stuff we need. I usually use my hands, but for TV purposes, I guess I have to use the egg method. All right. We have the white wine vinegar. When you put that in, I go ahead and stir it. The same thing when you make a hollandaise or you're doing a creme anglaise or ice cream. You put that hot liquid in that egg, you want to temper it, put a little bit in and stir it. Well, that vinegar, that acid will shock that egg and it might curdle a little bit, so you want to kind of stir it a little bit. All right, a little bit of pinch of sugar, pinch of salt, pinch of some pepper, some Tobika caviar. So guys, this is a good dish, a good vinaigrette for the scallops. It's got a lot of acid from that vinegar, and it's also got some nice saltiness. You know, caviar really tastes like nori or seaweed. It's just natural flavor of the ocean. Well, when you make it a day ahead, it'll really come out. So we just want to stir that in. Any questions so far? Yes, ma'am.
If you can't find the caviar, could you use capers?
Yeah, you can definitely use capers. Capers would be fine. Like we've always done with these cooking shows, I try to give you guys a basis, you know what I mean, and start somewhere. You can put some fresh basil in there, some sun-dried tomatoes. You can put some capers in there. Roasted red peppers, roast some red peppers, put it in that base vinaigrette. Let it sit overnight so those roasted red peppers will really come out in the vinaigrette. I just want to be a little funky. You can also use some Acetra caviar, which is probably about $100 an ounce. So if you would ever put that in vinaigrette, somebody might shoot you. I wouldn't do that. All right. So we got all the ingredients besides the vegetable oil. I'm actually using 80-20 oil. It's 80% vegetable and 20% olive oil. So it's just going to kind of give it a little bit more foundation and a little bit more fat and some boldness. So we're just going to slowly put that in. And if you can have your significant other hold the bowl. That always helps. This is basically the same way as you make an aioli or a mayonnaise, just more egg yolk, a little less vinegar. And when you put the oil in there, it emulsifies and comes out. It's a little bit more yellow than a normal mayonnaise is. All right. You always want to season to taste at the end, guys. Always. You want to season everything. So I'm going to add a little bit more sugar. And like I said, right now, when you taste, it's pretty pungent. The vinegar's coming through pretty strong. Tomorrow, just like when you make your gumbo, the next day, it's totally different. Well, same thing with this vinaigrette because of that caviar, or I should say the roe. It's really not a caviar, but it'll really come out. The salty and the sweetness of that ocean flavor will come out of that Tobika caviar and really make this a whole different flavor tomorrow. All right, that's the vinaigrette. You have any questions about that? Good to go? All right.
Is there a local source for the caviar?
Publix probably, she asked if we can get caviar around here. Publix probably has, because the Tobika caviar is not, we get a pound for $15. It's not expensive. And all else fails, Whole Foods, Harry's, those places. But I'm pretty sure Publix might have it.
Isn't that what they use in
Sushi rolls? Yes, yeah. They're just really, it's really flavorful. Even salmon roe. There's so many different things. I did this so foundationally basic that you guys can go any way you want to. But I'm pretty sure Publix might have it. All right. Before I get started with this, let's talk about the onion rings. I'll show you how I want you guys to cut them. You can always go the thick cut, beer battered kind of thing. Well, these are just, we want the onions to speak for themselves. And a really good onion to use is Vidalia, of course. It's really sweet. And if you want an onion to speak for itself, that's a really good one. So you have the root and you have this side. We're going to leave that root on. And basically take the outer layer off. All right. So basically this root is going to hold it together for us while we cut our onion rings. So we want it to be really thin. You always want to wipe it down too. Sometimes it'll have that membrane on it and make it really slippery and you'll lose a finger. And we don't want you to do that. All right. So on the recipe, for the flash fried onion rings. You just want to heat your oil 350 degrees. You want to slice the onions really, really thin. The flour, it says seasoned flour. If you've been here before, you have our Creole seasoning. It's probably the best thing to put, and use all-purpose flour too. So you have that kind of Popeye's fried chicken crispiness on the outside, but just a little bit of it. In fact, I said shake it pretty excessively because you want to get most of the egg wash off and then most of the flour off. So you want the onion to really speak for itself and just have a nice little crust around the outside. So we want to do it really thin, like I said. And for this recipe, 1 onion would be plenty. And they're not perfect onion rings, it's okay. Guys, but this is also really good for serving on steaks. Put on a BLT, a fried green tomato sandwich. So we just put those in the egg wash. Make sure you shake them off pretty good. And then the flour, and shake them off again. Fry about half of them at a time, just so you don't overcrowd your pan. And the oil will get too cold by doing, not cold, but the temperature will drop significantly if you overcrowd it. And then you'll lose that crispiness. And it should take probably about a minute until it's golden brown. But that's gonna go on top. In fact, we'll have some TV magic, and my guy back there will fry some when I'm plating it up. Is that okay? Because I really don't want to burn anybody. All right, so we're gonna start searing the scallops, guys. I think I'm not sure if I did scallops. I remember I did something, and I used a Teflon pan. And it was really because our pans are ugly back there because we cook a lot. I think we had like 65 people waiting Saturday, so we cook a whole bunch back there. So it's hard to keep clean pans back there. But I used a Teflon last time for that reason, because it was pretty. So sorry for the ugly pan, okay? All right, so yeah. Experience pan, thank you, man. So some extra virgin olive oil. We want to get that oil pretty close to smoke point, meaning that it's going to start smoking a little bit. Because to do the scallops correctly, we have to first dry them off. Look at those scallops, they're beautiful, right? These are U10s, meaning that there's 10 to a pound, or under 10 to a pound. And there's 10-20, meaning about 15 to a pound, 20-30s, and so on and so forth. The same as shrimp, same count they do. So we want to dry those off. The moisture will kind of hurt the sear. We want to put a nice crust on there, so we want to make sure they're dry. A little freshly cracked black pepper, a little kosher salt. And guys, these are obviously sushi grade scallops. I mean, you can eat the thing raw if you wanted to. We try to cook ours here about medium. Sometimes they're maybe a little under medium. But you want a nice crust on the outside and just real velvety texture in the center. And don't be afraid to season them, because that crust takes away some of the heat and also some of the salt. So you see our smoke point? All right, so we just lightly put them down. We want that to go for about 45 minutes, I'm sorry, 45 seconds. You take it. So remember, guys, get that nice crust. Don't mess with it, okay? Let it sit. Let it get crusty. And when it's ready, you should be able to just easily pick it up and turn it. If it's not going to let you pick it up. So. And it means you messed something up and you need to start over. And you just wasted 2 beautiful scallops. And you shouldn't be cooking. You should just continue to come to class and just not try the recipes. All right, so I'm seeing some crust. You see it's just moving freely. I flip those scallops. You'll see that beautiful crust? Guess why I can't fry out here? I don't have a hood. All right, plating very simple. Looks like they were pouring wine next to my plate. I have wine droplets all over it. All right, we have some spring mix, baby greens, mesclun mix. It's all the same. It's basically baby greens. And it usually comes out in the spring, but because we're America, we have it year round. It's got some arugula, some spinach, some radicchio, green leaf, red leaf, some oak. Just want to put a little bit in the middle. We want to season everything, guys. All right. All right, then we get the scallops. I'm going to take a sip of water to try to elongate this while he fries his onions back there, okay? Usually the second side has a better crust. So that's going to be our presentation side. Usually when you sear things, you sear presentation side first. But for some reason, scallops, the presentation side comes out second. All right, so we got some nice fresh baby greens, pan-seared dried U-tin day boat scallops. We got our Tobika caviar vinaigrette. Look how cool that caviar looks on there. You gonna talk about surprise your friends, huh? Don't even tell them what it is. Just say, oh, it's actually a balsamic reduction that I put agar paste in it and then froze it in ice water. And they'd be like, what? Tastes like caviar. Okay. So we grab half the onion rings, put them in the egg wash, make sure we shake them off. We don't want too much moisture on there. We don't want a big, thick coating. We just want a really light coating. Shake them off again. 350 degrees. You got the green. You got the green. Okay. You start laying out the plates and putting them in this one. So we don't want a big coating on these. We want them to be really light. Just have a nice touch of crunch. And basically we're seasoning them with the flour. Looking for that golden brown a little bit longer. There you go. Flash fried onion rings. I'll show you all the finished product for sure. So we have a light dish. You know, I'm all about textures. And also, you know, if I'm going to do a salad, it's going to have like some flash fried leeks or something just to kind of add some fat. I'm all about the fat. You know, my healthy is fat, but it's so good. So we have a nice healthy salad. And then we have some onion rings on top, all right? But it's good, guys. We have some nice crispy texture. When you eat the caviar vinaigrette, you'll be able to see, you have a little pop, you know, like almost, not like pop rocks, but there's a little pop because they are spheres that kind of pop when you eat them. So cool texture with that, some fresh greens, very sweet scallops, salty onion rings. There you go. All right, guys, what did y'all think? Awesome. Well, great. I appreciate that, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming. Hope to see you guys next time. And as always, at Gabe Downtown, fat equals flavor.